My name is Elizabeth Mazzarella. They actually represented me on two separate cases. The first was a disability claim, and the second was a car accident. Well, when I first started thinking about applying for disability, I'd been unemployed for several years with many healthcare concerns. But everybody had told me to get disability takes years, and going through the system, you could almost forget it. You'll never get approved. And so I thought about it for a while, and I decided maybe I should try to get in touch with an attorney and see if that's true, or maybe they can help me. And to be honest, I remember the little magnet that was on the telephone book, and that's what made me initially contact this firm, but I've been so satisfied with everything that they did. So to start with, I met with Eric, and he explained the disability process and introduced me to Dorian, his assistant, and they walked me through the process. And it was long and tedious, but they did most of the work for me. They made it very easy for me, and it took longer than I had hoped it would, but in the long run, it was settled really without a hearing, which surprised all of us. So I think it was their efforts and their behind the scene handling the paperwork for me and making sure that I did everything I needed to do that made that happen as easily as it did. I felt I was very well taken care of. They attended to me very, very kindly and in a personal manner. Never did I call that I couldn't speak to someone. Someone was available, whether it was Eric himself or Dorian with my disability case. And if they couldn't speak to me at length, they would call me back or schedule an appointment for me to come in and meet with them. Dorian took a lot of time explaining the whole disability process and kept me posted where I was along the way and how the process was going and what she expected as far as time frame and future appointments that I would need to keep and things like that. It was a lot easier than I expected. Let's put it that way, based on what I had heard. They did all the groundwork for me. It was wonderful. Well, as I said, I'd never really needed legal services before, so I didn't really know what to expect. But I really kind of expected more of not hands off, but limited exposure, limited contact, just calling when they absolutely needed something from me. And I didn't get that here. Like I said, whenever I needed something, they always responded quickly. And Dorian would just call me, not when I was not even expecting it, just to let me know how things were going, where we were in the process, and always encouraging me to not get discouraged or to give up, and that she felt like everything would resolve for me. And like I said, it surprised, I think, all of us. It actually didn't even have to go for hearing, and I credit them for that. I think that Dorian made sure that all my paperwork was there, all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. And when it finally got before a judge, it was just laid out perfectly. So I thought everything went wonderful. I can't say enough. They were great. Okay, well, first of all, at my age, I'd never had a car accident in my life, not even a little fender bender. And that year I had 2 car accidents in total. Both cars, my car and my husband's car. The first accident was my fault, and there wasn't really much legal anything involved with that. But the second accident, I was T-boned. And again, given the year, I'd had 2 car accidents, totaled 2 cars, had my first ambulance ride that day, had to be cut out of the car with the jaws of life. It was very traumatic. Fortunately, I wasn't injured as badly as I probably could have been, but I did have some back problems and some neck problems. And I just happened to be in here maybe within a week or 2 after it to meet with them on my disability. Again, I wasn't thinking legal, and I was telling Eric that my back was hurting, and we got to talking about it, and he asked me, was I going to pursue anything? And I said, well, I hadn't really thought about it. And he said, well, what about at least to get enough money to buy you a new car, because you've totaled now 2 cars in 1 year. And I said, well, that might be helpful. And, he said, it may be some help for your back, because I was I had quite a bit of medical bills at that point too. And I said, okay. And he took it and ran with it. And again, everything went very smoothly. I had to provide not really that much information. He got my medical records as I went through rehab and everything. He had them sent on a regular basis. And it just, I didn't know what to expect. And I would certainly recommend people do things like that because it made a difference to me. It certainly helped me out. It's been a relief. Like I said, I was able to use the settlement from the car accident to help me buy a car because I had no car. So I was able to do that. Plus, it helped me cover, some other expenses related to the accident and my ongoing care because I still have problems with my back and my neck. And the disability has made things a lot easier for me. I don't have the pressure of not knowing if I'm going to have money coming in from month to month. So I'm able to take care of my health issues without the worry of, gosh, what if I don't get enough money this month? Because I don't really work, so it's hard. You wonder where it's going to come from, and that has relieved that for me. Well, I would certainly advise somebody to get in touch with this firm for disability because I do see where that could be a nightmare trying to do it by yourself. And like I said, between Eric and Dorian, they made that process very easy, very smooth. And like I said, I can't say enough about that. And as far as a car accident, I just, again, didn't know what to expect. And Eric handled it and got it resolved with no trial. And actually, the gentleman that hit me denied that he ran the red light. And it was just so happened there happened to be a highway patrol sitting at that same red light that he was supposed to be at and that he ran. So he was there. We went to the court one day. The judge wanted to just kind of hear our stories briefly. And he stood up and denied that it happened. The light was green, and I said it wasn't. And so it was kind of a he said, she said sort of thing. But like I said, the patrol officer was there to say, no, he did run it. But as far as this side of it, the legal side, Eric handled it and got it resolved. That actually didn't take that long. That accident was in September, and I think it was resolved by March. So very, very quickly. Well, I'm not exactly sure if this is what you're talking about, but I was always fascinated with the legal system. I had fancied myself to be a lawyer one day. And so I've taken lots of courses, and I'm just so impressed with the legal system. I've loved serving as a juror many times. So it's not that I was hesitant because of the legal system. I just never had needed it for me personally. So no, I know how wonderful lawyers can be. I know that they get joked about and, harassed a little bit about their profession. But honestly, when you need them, they are there and they make it happen for you. And it's a wonderful thing for us to have in our country, to be able to have our legal system and be able to have attorneys that help us get what we need to have a life that we deserve and to help make up for things that happen to us that maybe someone else should be paying for because it was their fault, in my case with the car accident. So no, I think seeking an attorney for something, especially my two, but there's a lot of other reasons too, can really make a difference in your life. And being able to trust them to handle things for you honestly and fairly and tell you like it is, and let them do the work. That's what they're trained to do. They know how to do it. For us as lay people to try to figure out what we need to do or how to do it, like you mentioned, sometimes the insurance companies and other people will try to take advantage of you. And it's good to have an attorney standing behind you to help you get what's fair for you. So no, I would never hesitate in the future if I needed anything, and certainly would encourage anybody I know that had anything similar or anything that I felt an attorney would help them with, I would certainly suggest and would highly recommend this firm.